Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for our weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world. In terms of the virus, new variants are popping up. New strains continue to evolve. Most vaccination efforts are under control with the exception of those in the United States and a few other pockets around the world. On the geopolitical side, the U.S. inauguration of Joe Biden is happening on January 20th, and the U.S. is on high alert. The goal is to have a peaceful transition of power. In the meantime, we're going to be monitoring global markets like a few of our associates and partners out there and customers. The Dow is at 30,800, BTC is at 36K, and ETH is at 1,300. The trading range has been mostly flat for most of the indices around the world. On themes and events, we're looking at an overarching cybersecurity theme, or you might say sub-themes related to cybersecurity. One we're looking at would be the online monitoring of content for signals related to trolling operations, similar to the one that resulted in the storming of the Capitol, and influence campaigns, magnification of misinformation and conspiracy theories. And we are also looking at astroturfing and security related to datasets, because that directly relates to the precision and accuracy of AI and machine learning operations. On the events side, we want to talk a little bit about the definition of an event. An event can be something like a global pandemic, the coronavirus, when we called it the coronavirus. It could be an earthquake in Taiwan. An event could be one company being acquired by another company, M&A activity. For example, Bristol Myers Squibb's acquisition of Celgene for $74 billion, which happened over a year ago. We've got other recent M&A events that have resulted in 20% premiums in stock prices, and that event alone, the increase in a stock price, can result in a thematic basket. For example, when Celgene was acquired, it rose by 31.8%, and we wanted to create a basket of stocks related to Celgene, related to that event. So we used Celgene as a company, we used its profile, data points related to it, and created a basket of stocks related to Celgene that rose. And we have that in a case study if anybody would like to see. So events can be made up of many different topics, themes. It could be a driver of some kind. It could be the restructuring of a company or a special situation. So we track them all, and primarily we run our backtest based on the event of a single issue rising by 11%. On the short side, issues falling by 12%. On the industry side, and our industry being natural language processing, natural language understanding, datasets, AI, ML, and crypto, and we also are going to add space biosciences. We're going to be tracking events that occur in that industry as we service the life sciences industry, and space biosciences is part of that. Last week we talked about OpenAI's GPT-3 and its operation on images. This week, natural language processing, or NLP models, language models, are being applied to understanding chemical definitions, chemical notations, and predicting chemical notations. And AI, this is a headline, AIs that read sentences are now catching coronavirus mutations. NLP algorithms designed for language, words, and sentences can also be used to read genetic changes in viruses, including coronavirus, HIV, and flu. And NLP is also being used in a little more nefarious ways related to simulating humans, online bot activity. So we'll be, of course, tracking that. And then on the crypto side, we've got Goldman Sachs getting into crypto custody. And of course, they're joining Fidelity and many others, including Trustology and a few others. Coinbase included. Crypto mining giant Bitmain is going public with a $40 to $50 billion valuation. So that's significant for our space. And Coinbase is inviting digital assets of all kinds to list. We'll be looking into that. On the corp side, everything is steady as she goes. On the engineering, product, and ops side, we are working on APIs of all kinds, integration including Cloud Quants and S&Ps and their integration of ours. We've got visualizations we're working on with the Chartflow group, and that would be for the coronavirus basket. And just as a reminder, this would not be the only visualization or the only basket that we'll be providing demonstrations for and visualizations for, not just the coronavirus basket, but other baskets based on thematic events related to M&A activity, as we described earlier, or other kinds of events related to any kind of significant news that has happened over the last year. Hydrogen fuel cells would be one. On the customers, partners, and collaborators side, as mentioned, the integration with CloudQuant is continuing, and we are continuing to bring in updated data sources for the pharmaceutical data set. That's 500 pharmas by 500 pharmas plus 100 drug compounds. We're providing multiple data sets based on multiple data sources. And multiple data sets would be the same 500 pharmas by 500 pharmas plus 100 drug compounds, but based on different data sources and different calculations and different updating periods and different contexts. We'll be providing one to showcase, and that's what CloudQuant will showcase to their 400,000 traders, institutions, and asset managers. And then, of course, our goal is to have them pay for the updates. We're also working on the S&P integration. We have a call with them again tomorrow. Our calls are about once a week with them now. And, of course, our goal there is to go ahead and have our data set showcased and be listed with the cryptos that they intend to, the select cryptos they intend to list here in Q1. And we'll be reaching out to Microsoft's Azure Space Group. And that's so we can get data sets started in the life sciences and space biosciences area. That's going to be our target. On the sales and marketing side, everything is ongoing. We're meeting with more groups next week and the following weeks. And of course, floodgates are going to open for us when CloudQuant introduces that static data set to their customers. And each customer is a PR. Each data set is a PR. On the exchanges side, so we're going to reach out to Coinbase because they've decided to be open to listing all kinds of assets. And all other exchanges are in process for us. And we're likely going to have S&P or another large group that we're talking to contact one of these exchanges and let them know that our customers are going to need to by VXV in high throughput mode here as they test datasets. So we're going to need liquidity, which we'll talk about in a bit. On the IR, PR, and Marcom side, there is an industry trade publication in the artificial intelligence space that will be writing about us. We've done an interview. It'll be a full page spread and again focused on the AI industry. And that should be available in a couple of weeks here. And then of course we've got more PR coming from Cloud Quant, and we've got PR coming from S&P Global. And new data. So these PRs are in process. They are largely, I should say, wholly dependent on engineering deliverables, and everything is on track there. Next, we'll move on to questions from the trader base. The first question is, do you have any opinions on the Tether FUD and how it can affect the markets? Well, we don't have many opinions on the Tether FUD. What we do know are markets. And we know that there is something called naked short selling. And we'd highly recommend everyone do research on what naked short selling is. And the fact that Knight Securities was fined about $10 million every month for enabling naked short selling of securities, which is illegal. Naked short selling means that you are claiming that you have something that you do not. So that relates to Tether. We'll start paying attention to any Tether FUD when the big boys start paying attention to it, like Goldman Sachs and BlackRock. Until then, it's not a concern of ours. The next question is, can you please provide us some details on what your strategy to avoid the SEC? Okay, number one, we do not avoid the SEC. We work with the SEC. We follow the spirit. Number two, we follow the spirit of SEC regulation and U.S. securities law. And this includes its main mandate for all those who participate in public markets, and that is to protect the mom and pop investor, protect the Joe Six-Pack investor, the small fry, the little guy. And there's a good reason for that. The little guy usually gets left out in the end, and that has been a common problem, especially in crypto. So we are focused on what the SEC is focused on, and that is the protection of small stakeholders in a global public marketplace. The next question is, I understand that VXV is not a security token, but can it be affected being a utility token? Number one, this is an unregulated market, the crypto markets, and every other utility token will come into question before ours. Our utility is core to the world's AI and ML operations. Now, we do plan to be listed in U.S. markets, which means that we'll do whatever it takes to groom this company to meet U.S. regulations. The next question is, why is another listing important if CoinMetro can provide the regulated avenue needed for hedge funds and larger players? Strategic liquidity. That's the answer. The next question, what are your expectations for the next 2 weeks, and how these future events, Biden taking office, can be used by VXV to generate profit? Everything seems really unstable now, and it looks like it'll only get worse. Well, you don't want uncertainty. Markets don't like that. But you do want volatility. You don't want markets to be flat. When you've got volatility on the upside or the downside, that means you can make money in markets. So we are prepared. We're market neutral. And that means we're prepared to make money on the long side or the short side. If the markets go up, we make money. If the markets go down, we make money. And the reason for that is events can be negative or positive. You can have a negative event happen, which results in a basket of stocks or crypto moving to the downside. You can have a positive event happen, and a basket of stocks or crypto will move to the upside. In a down market, when the trend is down, when you are observing the tape just hitting new lows, and this can be for any market, this means in that kind of environment, you don't want to fight the tape. You don't want to move against the market. You don't want to trade against the market. This means that if the market is moving down, you want to move in that direction, and this would mean not taking long positions. And it would also mean that most events that happen in the market would be negative or short side events, which would mean more short side baskets are produced in a down market than in an up market. And in an up market, more long side baskets are produced than in a down market. And that's just the nature of the way events unfold in a down market and in an up market. And that's why we can say that we're market neutral. The next question, which is a pretty good segue here, short side solutions were mentioned on the last conference call. Can you tell me more details about these solutions? Will they be available to the investment club? Yes, on the short side, absolutely. All short side solutions will be available to the investment club. That's one of the reasons why it exists, so that we can go ahead and take advantage of a down market. And down market in the crypto markets or in the traditionals, either or. The next question is, my kid wants to get into coding. What would be the best path? So this was a question asked by one of our internal team members, and I thought that I'd provide an answer here. One of the best things that you can do, this is just a very quick answer, would be to have them learn how to code up a neural network in Python from scratch. And if you just do a quick search for neural network Python from scratch in Google, you'll find many different coding examples there. It's a good place to start, especially for what's going to be happening in the future with AI and ML. The next question is, when is the dataset design class? And the answer is message one of us on the main channel for more information. And next we'll have the strategy section. And we have a few unrelated notes. The first is, we're going to be working around fallout from the Capitol insurrection. And this means that we are working with some customers, with some partners who are experiencing fallout within their own companies related to groups that might be disbanded, or groups that are simply slowed down from some of the political uncertainty related to their connection to government contracts and so forth. On the data engineering side, we are looking to expand. So if anyone has anyone they'd like to refer on the data engineering side, please let us know. And as mentioned before, many different companies are offering crypto custody. Anchorage is one of them. They were in the news this week. And it seems as though one of the reasons custody is very important, you've got a lot of traditional market players, a lot of traditional institutions, asset management companies and so forth that do not want to deal with the custody side. They don't want to deal with owning the crypto. And that's what we have solved. We've solved it for our own institutional customers via Trustology. And that's a piece of friction that we'd like to mention that we've removed, that makes it easier for the onboarding process and makes it easier in terms of comfort for our customers. They don't have to worry about worry about custody. All they have to do is worry about their VXV wallet address, which enables them to access the datasets. Now this connects to trial agreements. We're at the stage right now where we want to close simply on trial agreements. And we're going to be doing that pretty soon. What this means is that any company that has a trial agreement with VectorspaceAI also owns VXV, or they've taken a position in VXV as a public holder of VXV. This means that we will be communicating with the public, as mentioned last week. We'll be communicating with the public about the holders of VXV, the customers who are on trial agreements. Now, of course, transitioning those trial agreements to the next tier, which would be paying for the updates, the 99 cents per update per data set. And that would be for the long side and the short side. So we're going to be communicating to customers the same thing that we've communicated to our community and to our stakeholders. That is, we've got short side solutions for them so that no matter what happens in the market, no matter what kind of uncertainty we're all dealing with, we'll be making money for them and for us. This has been a pre-recorded call. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to us online. Thanks for joining.